How's my hair look?
Bad.
Thanks. We're 100% rolling. Everything's on right now. We're good to go. Isaiah, the co-host. Full send. You have anything you'd like to say to start it off?
Welcome to ZZ Talk Podcast.
Flashlight, 12, we on 30. None, if you ain't about it, hit my line, we can read. Yeah, this ain't no blue face, baby. This
Actually, it's ZZ Talkz.
Oh. ZZ Talks Podcast.
So you gotta say
Applause
ZZ.
button.
You gotta say ZZ Talks, but you just in the proper moments you add that extra Z just for the Z of it. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. I'm sorry. If I was a real co-host, I would have a button right here for the applause, but I'm not. Wow.
Our very first official ZZ Talks. Welcome. My name is Jairus.
My name's Isaiah.
And our guest today for the first ever discussion of the Tough Topics booklet from beginning to end. So this is what we do at Zeal. We'd like to know with every guest, what's your name?
Savannah Hodges.
And what's your favorite color?
Dark blue.
Like the ocean.
Like
Like Navy.
I know this
No,
stuff.
darker than
Sorry.
Navy.
So what we're going to do, guys, is go through the Tough Topics booklet. If you have the booklet, open up to page 4 for the table of contents. I chose this order specifically so that when anyone does this, you start with topics that are the most relevant time-wise. Identity is the first topic, and it's the most important because it's the foundation of everything else. Your entire life comes from who you are. Who am I? What's my identity? Page 5, first topic, identity. Identity is defined by psychology today as the knowledge of who we are. So who am I? 63% of teens say they know who they are, while 37% do not fully know their identity yet. Teens may search for identity in status, work, race, ethnicity, education, family, opinions of others, religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, friends, money, power, talent, etc. Technology and social media may prove finding identity even more confusing and difficult, giving us more possible versions of self than ever before to constantly edit and an endless supply of people to compare ourselves with. We may risk a vicious cycle of seeking constant online approval, causing unhealthy online dependency or a misconception that online identity equals real life. So, what are your thoughts on those stats and quotes from the mainstream world?
Well, the first thing that really shocks me is that 63% of teens say they know who they are, because I feel like a lot of teens complain about not knowing who they are. Deep down inside, maybe, or if it's a superficial identity, I'll be like, yeah, I know who I am. I'm Savannah Hodges. I went to St. P. High School. I studied allied health. Like, a lot of people think that's who they are, but
Right.
in reality, that's not their true fulfilling identity. We constantly present ourselves in all these different ways, I think, just to fill the void of belonging and true self.
And it never works. You think about middle school and high school, 4 out of 10 completely admit that they have no idea who they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest thing is definitely social media, because everyone's lives are so fake on social media. You post what you want people to see, not necessarily what your life really entails.
Well, social media is a platform for you to prove yourself, prove how worthy you are of likes. You are going to find yourself posting things that maybe wouldn't be deep down who you really are, or how you would interact or present yourself in face-to-face, in vivo situations. And so we construct this reality of ourselves, and then when our life actually doesn't meet up to it, when we're posting month-old photos and pretending we're on vacation, or editing and photoshopping ourselves to look 10 pounds skinnier, or a different skin color, or taking away our zits, then when we actually have to face who we are deep down inside, it's very unsatisfactory, because we've convinced ourselves that we're this person online, because we've convinced everybody else of it too. So when you actually have to face the reality of who you are, skin and bones, and not on social media, this person you've built up to be, then I feel like that's when the I don't know who I am.
Right. Like direct quotes I pulled from people. I'm talking like psychologists and stuff that had studied into this. We may risk a vicious cycle of seeking constant online approval. So you're constantly trying to get that approval, causing unhealthy online dependency or the misconception that online identity equals real life.
Mm-hmm. It reminds me of like my mom always said, when you tell a lie over and over and over again, that lie becomes the truth to you.
Yeah.
And then when somebody calls you out on it, that's a lie. You're like, no, that's the truth. So every day you're posting this lie or a little white lie version of yourself, eventually you're going to believe and have that misconception. You're going to believe this lie about yourself that's going to come crashing down eventually.
That's huge. I think about you in watching you like grow throughout the past handful of years, and I've specifically told you one of my favorite qualities about your growing character, other than the fact that you're a dirty, rotten sinner saved by grace, is your complete rawness in your emotions in person. And that's it kind of always been like a natural thing. Some people kind of naturally like, you know, wear your emotions on your sleeves, but not just wearing your emotions on your sleeves, but like being real about it.
Yeah.
And so even like today you walked up outside and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" And you're like, like
yeah,
you
I
weren't
wasn't feeling it earlier, and I was pretty open about it.
right. But like you can't do that
Online.
right.
Yeah.
Or if your identity is nothing but the online world.
Yeah.
If
for
like
sure.
all you focus on is that, you go and try and talk to someone else and you can't react the way that you would online, where you like would take the time to like
Sit 10 minutes before a caption. So when someone says, "Oh, what did you do last weekend?" instead of curating this perfect emoji-filled caption that's going to get all these little likes and hearts floating across your screen, you're like, "Oh, I just hung out at the beach." For lack of a better movie quote, like the Mean Girls reference, like everyone wants to be the popular crowd. Everyone wants to be the Regina George that has all the friends. And so it's what you're eating, it's how much you spend on your clothes, what brand you have. For girls and young women, it's just this over bombarding system of what you should be is this thing online, because that's what gets the most likes, or even gets you quote unquote Instagram famous.
I was going to say, I think a lot of it is trying to copy other people on social media.
it's just a classic, like you think that you can chase this and you think you're trying so hard to be something,
Yeah.
and you're always working at it, but it never gets there. And it's that perfect lie that you think eventually you'll get there. You think eventually it'll satisfy you.
But it's not enough.
It's never enough.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
always crashes. And it usually crashes hard, which hurts friendship.
For me, I did the same thing for like 2 years, where I just got so caught up in my social media identity, I guess. And I was just posting what I think would get people's attentions at what would make me look cool, not necessarily what was real in my life.
If your identity is found in the fake you in social media or anywhere in the online world, or even the fake you that you like put on, you know, at church or at the skate park or at school or whatever, I mean, ultimately, the satisfaction, your identity is not coming from yourself. You're creating it to get the affirmation, not from you and not even from the social media, but
I think just of the world in general.
right,
It's
certain
that
people.
fleshly pride.
The Bible says our identity is found in God because we are created in His image. Before we were born, He knew us and had plans written for us. Jesus said we find our true life if we give ours to Him, making us children of God with a new life and relationship with Him through identity in Jesus and citizenship in our home, heaven.
It shows us that we all have a unifying identity, but we have to be willing to realize it. Accept Jesus into your heart. Like, it changes who you are, flat out. Like, you are adopted, you're paid for, you're forgiven, and that's the only thing that's going to fill the hole. The person that you're trying to be, when we accept Jesus into our hearts and actually surrender to Him, like, all of that is stripped away. And the foundation of who you are is built. Like, I am a child of God. I am forgiven, purified. My sins are as far from the east as the west. Like, those foundational things are true no matter what. And so then you can start to build the pieces of who you are in Him on top of it.
You can't just accept Jesus and then you're good. Like, oh, I'm just going to go and do my thing. And then you can't accept Jesus and then go and like be a loser on social media or in schools or whatever. Because then you're being a hypocrite as a Christian. You're being a total fake. If we work hard, then we're going to maintain that mindset. But it is a daily thing.
You just don't wake up and be like, okay, God, I'm going to be who you want me to be today. Like,
It's not that easy.
no, it takes courage. It takes diving into the Word. It takes having real conversations like this. It takes
Right.
being uncomfortable or not being on your phone.
He's making you to be the person you were born to be. But that's what you said. Like, once you let Jesus infiltrate your life and you let Him change the way you think and act and speak, and you started to obey that and dig into that every single day, it's a grind. It's a gnarly grind. It's like Olympic training, but every single day.
I didn't have social media for an entire year because it wasn't serving me and it was making me an ugly person. And so you give it up. It's no longer about me. it's about him. So everything that you do has to pour out from that daily surrender and that daily sacrifice. But you have to start your day off with being reminded of who you are in him. And as for me, I am in PT school because of the Lord. And I wasn't going to go to PT school when I first was in high school. I wanted to be a surgeon, and then like God just smacked me across the face, and now I'm in a medical career that I didn't initially think I was going to be in, but all because I was willing to not make it about me, but to see who God wanted me to be. Because I think when we start to write the story, that's when it gets messy.
Thanks for tuning in to ZZ Talks, presented by Zeal. Don't forget to tune in next time.
Download on all your podcast platforms.
Just in case I use it.
Available everywhere,
with a
anywhere you look.